homestead. God is good all the time. Well, I wasn't going to actually do this video today, but I got out here and was working in my garden on one of the rare sunny days we've had lately. And I had a friend who wanted me to dig up one of my dandelions so she lives in an apartment, and she wanted one from my garden that she knew was an organic, not just out in any old yard where they spray. So I was out here trying to find a small one to dig up for her, and it took me a while. And so in the process, I dug up a bunch that had long tap roots. So it is time for me to dig up my dandelion root and start drying it. So I figured I'd get started today. I'll be doing this probably off and on for the next couple of weeks, digging up some dandelion root and washing it and drying. So I'll show you how I do that. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's the dandelion I'm going to dig up right now. Cody, of course, is sniffing around. So I just want to show you how easy it is to dig up dandelions out of your garden, and why this is just another reason why I like to let them grow in my main garden area, and then dig up the bulk of them before I start planting all my annuals. So I just take my little shovel, stick it alongside the dandelion and press down, and then lift. The soil's nice and loose. So I still ended up breaking off a good chunk. But there's that. Toss it over my basket. Let me go for this next one here. Okay, there's another one here. They're all over the place. Get that down in there. I'll have to show you the ones already dug up because they have super long tap roots. So you just got to loosen it, and then you should be able to pull it. See, look at that. Look at that nice long tap root. This is why you like to let your dandelions grow in the garden. Another reason why is because those long tap roots break up the soil and carry nutrients down into the soil and to the roots of the surrounding vegetables. Okay, maybe I'll do a couple more on camera. There's another good root. I've got several nice long roots. And then I got some bunches. These are the best ones because they're easiest to clean and they're good and long. These ones, they're all right, but I'll show you how I clean them. It's a good one there. And this is the one I just dug up. There's some decent ones. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and a lot of people might think I'm crazy for this. Here's a good root. Is I'm going to be since at this time I really don't need these greens. I've got a lot of dehydrated greens. I'll try to get around to saving the flowers if I can of the ones I dug up, but I'll be getting tons of flowers and leaves throughout the year, so I'm not really worried about these right now, and I don't want to deal with them right now because it's just one more thing to have to worry about when I'll be getting tons more greens and stuff throughout the year. So I'm mostly concerned right now about these roots. So I'm just breaking off the plants, and I will be just composting those for now. I'm not pulling out my electric dehydrator at this point, so that's another reason why I just don't want to mess with those. I could add the greens right now to a fresh salad, but we don't really get into eating our salads until later in the year, when I've got a lot of other greens and stuff and flowers to go with them. So just trying to get the main tap root off of there. Now I've seen people just take the whole plant and dehydrate it up, and that's one thing you can do, but like I said, I like to do this separately myself. It probably doesn't make sense, it's just the way I prefer to do it. Okay, so you can see these are real muddy. It's just been very, very wet and rainy. So that's the bad part about where we're at and digging these up at this time of the year, is you just got a lot of mud stuck to them. Because this has pretty much been almost non-stop rain with a few minutes, like it'll rain again today, I can guarantee it. We get these brief reprieves from rain, so we run outside and try to get some gardening done. Now, so I've got this little strainer type thing I leave out here all the time, and I do this for doing this kind of stuff. And I'll just spray this down really good with a hose. to get as much of the dirt as possible off before I take them inside. Watch out, guys. So I just like to turn the hose on high and just rinse them as good as I can. Watch out. That gets them out of the way. Flip them around there. Oop, I just threw mud all over me. Now, if you live in a drier climate than I do, you might not get yours might not get as muddy as this. I'm sure they won't. But if I wait until it's dry enough to come get these, then it'll never get done. Okay, normally when I do this, I would I would keep digging, but I've got a lot of other things I got to get done today, and I can come out on another day and get some more. And I want to get this video made because I promised it. So basically, I'm just trying to wash off most of the major chunks of the mud. I still see some in there. I'm going to rinse off a little bit more. And then I'm going to take these in the house and put them in a big bowl, and I'm going to soak them. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that, and then I'll get back to you when I'm ready for the next step. So I have my dandelion root in a bowl, and what I forgot to add to this before I filled it up with the water is some plain white vinegar. I just dump in a bunch, and I'm just going to let that soak and sit in there. Okay, let me work this in there a little bit. Make sure these get down in there. I'm going to have to break these up so they stay under the water. I just like to soak them. It just helps get the most of the rest of the dirt off there. But I'm not I'm not dirtophobic. I don't worry too much about it. I just like to get as much off as possible so I don't have crunchy bits. But mostly what we use the dandelion root for anyway is for tea. So I'm really not that concerned about it. I know I've got good healthy soil, and I'm just trying to get a major bulk of the dirt off there is all I'm trying to do. So I'm going to let it soak, because dandelion roots just tend to hold a lot of dirt right around in here, especially in the older ones. But I'm really liking the looks of some of these real long roots here. But anyway, like I said, I would harvest twice as much at a time. But I've just got a lot going on today, so I don't have time to work with too much. Just want to get this video out. I'm going to let these sit for a while, an hour or whatever. Going to get some other stuff done and maybe even record a different video. And I'll get back to you with the next step. Alright, so I'm ready to go on to the next step. I soaked my roots, and then I rinsed them really good. And now I'm just going to chop them up pretty small. Show you how to do that, or at least show you some. So, and it's, doesn't have to be perfect, just chop them kind of smallish. I find it's best to get them at least sort of small, and then I throw them into my little hand chopper here. So I'm just going to do a little bit so you can see how I do this. And yes, I just ate a piece of the fresh fruit. It is a little bit bitter, but I notice that when you dig it up this time of the year, it doesn't taste as bitter as when you wait until later in the summer. Now it's going to be entirely up to you how small you want your pieces. That's really good enough. You can, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be spreading these out on a cookie sheet, on my stonework cookie sheet, and then I'm going to just dry these on my wood stove, because even though it is a nice day, let's see, what is today? Today is April 15th, I think. And it is actually a beautiful day. I could use my dehydrator plugged into solar, but because I kind of want to roast these a little bit, just a little, I'm going to go ahead and do it on top of the wood stove. I've got a fire going. Well, I was going to say, it's April, even though we start getting some nice days, it's still not quite warm enough to not have a fire going at least part of the day. So since I have a fire going, this is the other reason why I like to do it that way rather than run my electric dehydrator off the solar, because that just puts more wear and tear on that, where this isn't going to cause any extra wear and tear to my wood stove. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out, chopping these up and filling up my cookie sheet, and then I'll show you how I put them on the wood stove to dry them. So I'll get back to you when I'm ready. All right, so I'm in here at the wood stove, and these are getting there. I just kind of, what I do is I just kind of keep, you know, moving them around like this and letting them get nicely dried and browned. Not too brown. They're going to turn brown naturally, but I'm trying to just sort of toast them lightly. And then when they're fully dry, I will take them off of here. And then I will put them in a jar, which I'll show you in a minute. So how I have this, get this light to come back on again. It's not a whole lot of light, but I've got a little trivet. It's not focusing. Anyway, I've just got this sitting on top of just a trivet that's about that tall, because I'm trying to keep the fire not too hot, because it is still a pretty warm day. I don't want the fire to go out because it will get really cold tonight. So, and I got a couple loads of laundry hanging up here that I'm drying. So, and I would hang it outside, but you just this time of year you can't trust it. So you get your clothes all hung outside and it will start pouring down rain. So anyway, let me take it back in the kitchen and then I'll show you what I do with these when they're all dried up. All right, so my dandelion roots is all dried, kind of nicely toasted. You can see the color there. So I've got some pieces that are bigger than others, and so I had to leave it on there a little bit longer for it to really dehydrate good. Show you that. And I'm going to put what I've got right now in this little pint-sized jar. And even though this is not going to fill up this jar, I'm going to go ahead and seal it up because I'm not wasting anything by doing so. I'm not wasting any lids. I can seal it up, and then when I'm ready to add more, open it up and then reseal it again. And my goal is to have, you know, a few of these filled up. Now here's the jar. This is actually from 2016, and it's the jar of dandelion root that I did, well, last year. And so we didn't go through it as fast as I thought because I was trying to be sparing with it because I'd only made this one jar last year. So now I'll be adding it to teas like every night because that's mostly how I like to drink it, is add it into our nightly tea to get all the good nutrients and stuff out of the root, and all the good health benefits and medicinal benefits. Eventually, what I should do with some of this is go ahead and make a dandelion root tincture, though I can't remember what exactly I would use it for. But I just a lot of times prefer using things as teas rather than tinctures if I can. And so I'm going to seal this up. I almost forgot to grab my lid here. So again, as I always show, just pressing the brake bleeder tip into there and holding it and pumping this up to 15 psi. Okay, sometimes that lasts a little bit. It takes me a little bit longer. And then it's nice and sealed. And I can see on there, I've shown this before, but I like to do it because I always have new subscribers. I have writing on here from when I vacuum sealed some homemade dog treats into a jar. So all I'm going to do is just spray a little rubbing alcohol on there and rub it in. So rubbing alcohol works like a dry erase marker. It's the same idea. You don't want to use a wet rag to wipe this off. You just you can let it sit on there longer and it'll be more effective, as this was written on there pretty dark, and the more you reuse a lid, the harder it is to clean it off because it starts to get a little rough. But so sometimes it comes right off within seconds, but now I can write on there dandelion roots. And then as I said, when I do my next batch and get it all dehydrated up, I should be able to fill this jar up and then seal it again, and then put it up for next year. And hopefully I can get a few of those jars made up this year. There's still a lot more dandelion out there to dig up. But I do like to leave some because there's lots of flowers coming on, and I want to leave those for the sake of the bees right now. And then later I'll be collecting the flowers and the leaves and dehydrating them separately, because some people like to use their dandelion all together. I like to use all of them in different things. So the flowers I use for soaps and in teas, in a herbal tea that I don't always add the dandelion root to, and the leaves I use in my mixed greens blend. And then I also use fresh in our salads. Anyway, so that's what I do with my dandelion root. And what I recommend that you do is look up the benefits of dandelion root. Now, I did do a live show a while back, and I'll go ahead and link to that right up here, and then possibly in the end card where I talked about dandelions and a lot of the medicinal benefits of the flowers, the leaves, and the roots. But I know that I wouldn't have gone through everything because it's one of those herbs that just has a plethora of medicinal properties and health properties. So just look it up and find out why you need to just let those dandelions grow and save them. And there's different ways, there's so many different ways you can do it. Like I said, I saw a video where a lady dug up the whole plant and cleaned it off and then just dehydrated it and put it up like that. And you know, that's a pretty cool idea because in a way it's a lot easier. But for me, I prefer to keep it all separated out for my own reasons. And you know, you just gotta find what works for you. All right, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.